So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier Zero Games going on right now, and all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tierzerogames.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dad here from Zephyr Games, bringing you an update post-eternity code to Traptrix. Now Traptrix received 2 new support cards, one in the form of an XYZ and one in the form of a very, very powerful trap card as well. So before we get onto the profile, please smash the like button, hit the notification bell and subscribe so you do not miss out on anything. Alongside the profile today, I'll also be bringing you a very, very simple 2-card combo that you can do to get the engine going, to get the deck going, and gives you a little bit more spice using the new cards as well. With that said and done, let's get into today's profile of post-eternity code Traptrix. Right, so I'm just going to dive straight into the profile and kind of explain everything as we go. So you play triple Traptrix Myrmidon. This is the most important card in the deck as the main monster for the combo to get started and everything to go. So all of the Traptrix monsters are pretty much unaffected by the effects of whole normal trap cards. So it's a shame they're not unaffected by all normal trap cards, because then it means they could dodge impermanence and stuff. But it means like in a mirror match or anything like that, you can kind of dodge those. When this card is normal summoned, you add 1 whole normal trap card from your deck to your hand. If it is special summoned, you target a spell trap card your opponent controls and destroy it. It's a bit of a shame that it doesn't target a spell and trap card on the field, because if it did, you could actually bring this back during your opponent's turn and then pop your own artifact, Sanctum or Scythe, and be like, boom. And this deck would be like next level. Still a very, very good control deck as well. So you've got triple Myrmidon and then triple Mantis. Mantis is great as long as you've got something to set it up. So as long as you can extend further off of Mantis, it's great. So when this card is normal summoned, you add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand. It's unaffected by the effects of whole normal trap cards. And once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 set spell or trap card you control, return that target to the hand, then set 1 spell and trap card. So this allows you to trigger Sarah during your opponent's turn. Now when I've played this, once you go into Sarah, Sarah is the first thing that players that know how to play against Traptrix target. So that is the one card you've got to protect or try and get around as well. So keep that in mind. We then play triple Traptrix Dynea. This is your turn 2 Traptrix play, purely because, again, unaffected by whole normal trap cards. When this card is normal summoned, you target a Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position. So that allows you to go into your XYZ plays a little bit faster, and it can, if you have the ability to extend in the deck, give you a quicker rank 4. So this with an additional summon, like double summon, can do the 2-card combo as well for you, but then the 2-card combo turns into a 3-card combo. But it still gets the same effect. When this card is special summoned, you target 1 whole normal trap card in your graveyard, set that target, but banish it during the end phase of the next turn, of your next turn. So it's good in the sense if you activate it during your turn, you allow it to kind of stay during your opponent's turn. If you do it during your opponent's turn, you need to get a Mantis to bounce it back so that it doesn't get banished, because otherwise you're just going to lose that trap. Now in the past, the issue was the only card that you could use and abuse was like Floodgate. Now that we've got the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, this is actually a lot better, because you bring that back, it's actually a trap hole that you can use more consistently during your opponent's turn. With like Floodgate or Bottomless Trap Hole, you couldn't really use it during your turn because it was very rare that your opponent was going to summon during your turn. Unless they're now looking at stuff like IP Masquerena, but then again, Bottomless is better for the IP play, whereas Floodgate wouldn't have done anything to it, so you had to balance that out. Now it's a little bit better because of the Gravedigger Trap Hole. And then for the final Traptrix, I actually like to play the 1 Atrax, purely because if I feel my opponent is going to put in so much heavy back row hate, the effect of this card is you can activate whole normal trap cards from your hand. The activation and effects of normal trap cards activated on your side of the field cannot be negated. So that is great for stuff like Impermanence. It's also great for stuff like Compulse that aren't normal trap hole cards. With the trap hole cards themselves, it's quite nice to be able to hold on to those. So if my opponent's going to be like, oh cool, I've cleared your back row off, I don't really care about Atrax, and then you just go, cool, and you start playing these traps from hand, it can really, really catch your opponent off and they'd be like, oh crap. Now it's very rare that if you're playing like a person that knows how to play against Traptrix, not many people play Atrax purely because when someone puts this card on the board, they have to think to themselves, the chances are they're keeping the whole trap cards in hand. So if they get rid of Atrax, your whole play crumbles. But if you control yourself and control the board enough, you could actually have your set Imperms, your set Judgments, your set Imperial Orders, and then they could be like, right, oh, he's got one card in hand, maybe it's like an Ash Blossom or something like that, I don't care, let's keep going through it. And then you just go, Gravedigger, Bottomless, and they're like, hang on, what, you're just playing those from hand? And you're like, yeah, Atrax lets me do that. So it's another tech card in the deck that some people don't play, some people aren't used to, and it can really, really catch your opponent off, so it's something to keep an eye on. For the last Trap Trick monster, we do play the one Trap Trick Genelecia. So this has got a little bit better now because of Gravedigger Trap Hole. You can tribute this card, set 2 whole normal trap cards with different names, one for your deck and one for your graveyard, but banish them when they leave the field. So the issue with this is if you Mantis it back to hand, it will get banished. The only time a card does not activate is when it goes back into the deck. A card cannot activate in the deck, but it can activate in the hand, grave, banished, field, so in your technical possessions. You've got to be very, very careful with that and the way the Genelecia works. But it's nice for a bit of a longer game or the next start game to get you 2 trap hole cards, and then you can kind of protect yourself a little bit more from that. It's a shame that you do actually lose Genelecia, and it can't be like tribute a Trap Trick card or monster. Might have made it a little bit better, but 1 is more than enough. I then play the 1 Artifact Scythe. Now I know a lot of people are playing Artifact Dragna in the extra deck. It's definitely something you can play. I personally have gone for a different route with the extra deck. I've gone for a more OTK control and an OTK play. So the idea is, during turn 1 you control your opponent, during turn 2 you go in for the OTK with your monsters. And I'll show you, you might all think Utopia Double, that's it. I've actually gone for a different route. I've got Utopia Double, but there's another Utopia card that I use that basically allows all of my weaker monsters to get the rest of the damage in. So if my opponent has got like cards that aren't going to give me a direct win off of Utopia Double, so like anything that's like 2,100 or more, I've actually got a card that reduces it all to 0, and then swinging for game that way. We've then got the 1 at Nibiru because you can actually search it. You can bump this up if you want. The only reason I've got it in here is purely because I can just search it. You make Granite, you search it, done. So it depends on how far you extend, and then also depends on, you know, getting the cards themselves. Onto the Trap Hole cards. I play triple Floodgate Trap Hole. You can probably cut this down to 2 if you want, but this is actually a really, really good card now, especially moving into Master Rule 5 or being in Master Rule 5. Purely because so many people are going to go from the extra deck now, so they're going to go for fusions, synchros, and XYZs a lot more consistently. So Floodgate can really, really hurt them. It's useless against Lynx, sadly, but it does do a very, very decent job. We've then got 2 of the brand new Gravedigger's Trap Hole. Now, I only own 2, which is why I only play 2. You could arguably play 3 as well if you want to. So when your opponent activates a monster effect in their hand, graveyard, or when your opponent's banished monster's effect is activated, negate its effect, and if you do, inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. So, that straight away puts you in a commanding position. Now, I'll show you, like I said, the 2-card combo at the end can use this, but I choose a different route just to give you a bit more board control and board presence, but it can use this as well. So not only do you put your opponent on the back foot straight away by costing them 2,000, if they try to Ash you, all you need to be able to do, like, even if they try to Nibiru you, if you make Rafflesia first, you can play this on your turn 1. So by that point, they should have already Ashed you, and it's very rare you're going to get in Nibiru territory, but it's just nice to have that little line of protection as well. Very, very good card. I would probably play it at 3 if I had it at 3, and I'd probably drop Floodgate down to 2. And then the last Trap Hole card we play is the Bottomless. Now I put this in at the last minute purely because of the synergy towards the new Trap Tricks Alamiris. Now Alamiris, if your opponent's monster or monsters leaves the field because of your card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, except during a damage step, you detach 1 material from this card, target 1 of those monsters and special summon it to your field. Now, Bottomless is the only one that kind of does that. Purely because this one doesn't destroy it, it just negates its effects. Now obviously it's gonna be in the graveyard, but it has to leave the field. Whereas Bottomless is the only one that does that. It is part of the 2-card combo, and the idea is you hold on to this. You let your opponent extend. If they're like, alright, they haven't activated that track card, I'm going to keep going. And as soon as they make a link monster, or they make something that's integral to their plays, you go bottomless. So for example, think of Adamancipators. If they were to go, alright, and they don't go defensive at all, and they just make Appaloosa, you go, alright, bottomless Trap Hole Appaloosa. Now, I'm not sure if that actually works because of the way her attack gain happens. But just something like that on an example. So they go Borosword, you go bottomless. And you kind of move it that way. So it does give you the ability to counteract your opponent and give you another bit of board presence, which is why I've played it at 1. Again, you can take it out. You can go into like Void Trap Hole. You can also go into Time Space Trap Hole. It does start costing you life points, but it does allow you to get stuff with Alumilio as well. You just got to make sure that it has to go from the field to the graveyard. So when you activate something like Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning that negates the summon, it doesn't actually go from the field, so you won't get the effect of the new Trap Trick XYZ. So you've got to be very, very careful the way you play it, but I've kind of gone with that route in this build. Then we play the second part of the 2-card combo, and this card is insane, love it in this deck, is triple Phantom Knights of Shade Brigadine. Now, the idea is you normal summon a Trap Tricks monster, you turn it into Serra, you activate this, that then triggers Serra. Serra then gives you a monster, that can then give you an instant rank 4 play. And off of that rank 4 play, depending on what Trap Trick you started with, you could end up with a nice defensive back row and front row as well. So Shade Brigadine is a very, very good turn 0. It is a normal trap card, so it can be brought out of from Trap Trick as well. But it just helps you extend your board, and it even gives you a Time Thief redo, a nice little bounce as well. Triple Compulse Evacuation Device. Again, not a lot of people expect this. They put their boards in, and then you just go Compulse, boom, and they've lost all their materials they've just flooded onto the board, and it's a nice little out to it as well. Then, of course, no Trap Trick day is complete without Triple Trap Trick. You play so many normal trap cards that this is actually really, really good. Obviously, it can't get your Bottomless, but it can get your Gravedigger. It usually gets your Compulse, and it usually gets your Floodgate Trap Hole as well, alongside your triple Artifact Sanctum as well. So just imagine being able to finish your board with a Serra that's going to get you extensions, alongside a Trap Tricks Alamiris, plus a Bottomless Trap Hole, plus an Artifact Sanctum. And that is only going to require you to have 3 cards in your starting hand. The Sanctum, or a Trap Tricks, plus the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigadine and a Trap Trick monster. And again, I'll show you that combo at the end. But Sanctum is one of the most powerful trap cards right now, just because you can go no to your opponent's extra deck. And there's, apart from Eldritch, there's not a single deck out there right now that needs to go, I could play this game without my extra deck. Adamancipators need the extra deck, Salamangreats need the extra deck, Shadows need the extra deck. Even Trap Tricks technically need their extra deck. So you can really, really shut down so many decks with this card, which is why it's worth maining. Triple Imperm, obviously another target off of your Trap Tricks. Not much more needs said about that. And then I do main Triple Solemn Judgment purely because there's a lot of decks that are maining Nibiri's, not that I need to worry about that, but they're also maining Lightning Storms. So the biggest issue with Trap Tricks is you're probably going to be setting 4 to 5 cards and passing. So the worst thing that could possibly happen to you is your opponent goes, Lightning Storm, cool, back row. You're just going to sit there going, well, I couldn't have put them in defense mode to dodge that, so I guess I'm losing all my back row. And that is where Judgment comes in. It's very, very important. The idea of this deck is you want to go first. You have to go first. So Judgment is a must, in my opinion, in this deck. Paying 4,000 life points is nothing if you have the rest of the back row and monster front row to control your opponent. Now, all Trap Tricks need is a normal trap card that's a trap hole card that says if your opponent activates a card or effect, negate that activation. Not going to happen, but something that can protect you from a Lightning Storm would be nice. But for now, we are going to play Triple Judgment. And then if the deck wasn't bad enough, we're also going to couple it in a 1 Imperial Order. It is at 1. But again, it shuts down so many decks. Now, it doesn't really hurt Adamancipators, and it doesn't really hurt Eldritch, but completely shuts down Shadows, shuts down Strikers, shuts down, well, sort of shut down Salamangreats, doesn't help them. Hurts Orcus as well, which are going to be a big threat now with the new Girsu card. And there's a lot of decks that just take a step back. It is a 41 card deck, so if you want to cut this, you can quite easily as well. And then moving on to the spells, so this is the shout out tech from Brotal, who played Double Summon. I'm not too sure if he plays this anymore. I just really like it because, again, you make your combos even more consistent. So if you have the ability to, so I'll show you a 3-card combo at the end, but the idea is if you open up this, the idea is you can then end your board on Sarah plus 2 XYZs plus at least 1, if not 2, trap back rows as well. So this just helps massively extend your board. It does require more specific trap trick monsters, but it does let you go that little step further. And then the one double or nothing sucks if you open it. Really sucks if you open it. But it's still very useful because it still gives you that double or nothing attack should you need it as well. So that's it for the main deck. Sorry this is taking a little bit longer than usual. I hope it's been good though. I've tried to explain everything I'm doing. I'm trying to give you guys a little bit more information just so you can kind of understand the routes I take and the reason that I've built this deck the way I have. So onto the extra deck, we played 2 Traptrix Alamiris and the 1 Traptrix Rafflesia. Now, you don't have to play Alamiris at 2. I think it looks cool, it's awesome, and I kind of wanted to play it at 2, but it's not a necessity. You can take this out for like a Boral Sword because I do not play it in the extra deck, and I'll explain why when we get to Link Monsters. So, Traptrix Alamiris. 2+ level 4 monsters. This card is unaffected by trap effect while it has XYZ material, so no impermanent, baby. Only use each of the following effects once per turn. Detach 2 materials from this card, special summon 1 level 4 insect or plant monster from your graveyard. If an opponent's monster leaves the field because of your card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished, except during the damage step, you can detach 1 material from this card, target them, and special summon it to the field. This is what I'm talking about with Bottomless Trap Hole. It's one of the better cards to use and abuse with this card as well. So I know I only run 1 target for it. Technically, you can change it. If you want to make your strategy a bit more Alamiris based, you can bump that up, change that ratios around. I just really like it. I think it's a good card and I love the interaction with it as well. And then we just play a very big but strong rank 4 toolbox of Abyss Dweller. Shuts down so many decks right now. Bagooska, very rare that you're going to need to use him now, but should you brick, and sometimes it does happen, Bagooska is one of the best rank 4s to do. Time Thief Reader, mix this with a Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine. Not only do you steal from the top of your opponent's deck, you can also bounce a card as well. Tornado Dragon, and then Gallant Granite to search out your Nibiru. And then for Utopia package, obviously we've got the 1 double, the 1 Utopia, and the 1 card that I'm really in love with right now is Utopia Beyond. So the reason I play Beyond is because it allows all of my weaker monsters to get the job done as well. So whereas Utopia Double is like, no, I need to be the one that finishes this game off, Beyond goes, no, I'm going to let everyone else get involved. So the way this works is, if this card is XYZ summoned, the attack of all monsters your opponent currently controls becomes 0. Once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach 1 material from this card, target 1 face-up XYZ monster you control, and 1 Utopia monster in your graveyard. Banish the first, and if you do, special summon the second, then gain 1250 life points. Now, the combo, or the nice combo with Double or Nothing, is you have to have Utopia and Beyond on board. So you'd go Utopia Double into Beyond, make Utopia, detach, negate his effect, hit this with Double or Nothing, it goes up to 12k. The idea is he's going to be a 6k beater that's going to put everything to 0. So by the time you've made it in your turn 2, your board is already going to contain, hopefully, a Sarah, an Alalicia, plus a card you've stolen from your opponent, and then you're going to have a Utopia Beyond. Now that is going to give you game to be able to push through all your opponent's monsters. Then onto the Link Monsters, we do play the 1 Pentastag. Because my win con is Utopia and Utopia Double, if my opponent just sets a monster and passes, I still need to be able to finish the game off that way. I can't just be stuck there with Utopia Double play, and my opponent, because they put a monster in defense mode, I can't win. So Pentastag is the other ability on that one. And then of course we've got Triple Traptrix Sarah. This card is insane. 1 non-link Traptrix monster. The link summon card is unaffected by trap effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Sarah once per turn, and not during the damage step. If a normal trap card is activated, you special summon 1 Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name than the card you control. If your other Traptrix monster's effect is activated, you set 1 whole normal trap directly from your deck. So, part of the 2 card combos, you literally just go Shade Brigandine, effect of Sarah, special summon 1 from deck. effect of that card there to bounce a card or to do something or to search something or to pop something, triggers Sarah, sets another whole card. So you've got a form of extension straight away. Now, as you've seen, I do not play Unicorn, I don't play Borrelsword, I don't play any other Link monsters, and that's purely because I made this rank 4 toolbox. Now, in the rank 4 toolbox that you see before you, you could arguably take out an Alyurus, the Granite, probably Time Thief Reader if you're not a fan of it, and that's 3 cards straight away that become your Borrelsword, that become your Unicorn, that become your IP Masquerena as well. So that is your personal options. If you wish to, I've gone for Utopia just because that's the route I want to go. It's an XYZ deck and that's the route I wanted to take with it. Now, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here and I'm going to show you the 2 card combo. Now all you need is the Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine and 1 Traptrix monster. It doesn't matter what Traptrix monster it is, to get the most out of it. The best one to have would be your Myrmeleo, just because you get an additional trap card set. So the way this would then work is you would normal summon, we're going to go with the Myrmeleo just to show you how much you can get. So you normal summon your Myrmeleo, the effect of this goes off. Now with this, you want to set your Bottomless Trap Hole. This is the one that's going to get us the most from this combo. So you're going to set this, or add this, sorry, and then set this. You're then going to turn Myrmeleo into Sarah. Then you're going to set the Shade Brigandine, and because you've got no trap cards in your graveyard, you're going to activate the Shade Brigandine. There you go, so you'll zoom that out a little bit more. You activate Shade Brigandine, that will then trigger Sarah's effect to special summon a Traptrix monster from your deck. Now, straight off the bat, you can special summon your Dioneer. Dioneer's effect will then target a whole trap card in your graveyard and bring it back, or you'd go Mantis, or you can go Genelecia, or you can go Atrax. It really doesn't matter which one you go for, because their special summon effects aren't going to do you a lot during your turn, when your opponent's not got anything set up. So there's no trap card in the graveyard for Genelecia to go off. Mantis could bounce this to return it back to hand, but again, that will then trigger Sarah's effect to set one. So entirely up to you on how you want to do this. So Mantis is probably your best one off of this. Effect of Mantis. Return this to the hand, trigger Sarah's effect because the Traptrix monster's effect has been activated to set another Trap Hole card. So then you're going to set Gravedigger's Trap Hole. You're going to set these 2 here, and then you're going to overlay these 2, can go wherever they want. And you're now going to go into the brand new Traptrix Alyurus. You don't want to put it in defense because it's only got 600, 22 is a little bit more defensive. And then the way this kind of works is, during your opponent's turn, when they normal summon a monster, you hit them with Bottomless Trap Hole at the right time, detach a material, and you get to special summon that monster back. Then if they choose to activate a monster effect, you use this and banish it. You'll still have 3 cards left in your opening hand that could be more sets and disruptions. So that was it for the 2 card combo. Quite straightforward, simple, to the point, and gets the job done. Now obviously, depending on what else you open up in your hand, you can either have a more offensive hand or a more defensive hand as well. So it just gives you a kind of options to play around with. Anyway, I hope this helped. I hope this gave you a couple of ideas on your own Traptrix build and the ways you can adapt to it, make it different, or just kind of put your own personal spin on it. If you do have any personal text, by all means, put them down in the comments below. It'd be nice to see what other text people are playing around with and kind of see where it's going. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now, and all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.